Let us look at one other program. In this program, the user is going to register with the shopping site, and the user is going to purchase some item and put them into the cart, and finally the user will be able to view the items that the user has purchased. So let's look at how we can develop this particular application. Let me go to the Visual Studio, and I'm going to start a new project. Let me start with the empty project. Okay, and I'm going to say web shopping. You can give any name for that project. Let's start with the user registration. So user starts with the registration. So here you have with the registration page. So let me add a home page to the project. I'm going to add a new web page. Let me call this one as the home page. In this page, the user is going to register. So I'm going to go and go to the design view. So let's go to the design view, and I need a few things to be added here. Let me add a table. So I'm going to insert a table, and I'm going to take say 5 rows, or say 6 rows and 2 columns. So 6 rows and 2 columns. Let's click OK, and I'm going to give easy shopping as the title. I'm going to take the customer name here, customer number. We take the customer number, then customer name, and the address. I'm going to go and slightly bring this column towards here. Let me add a text box. So I'll keep the cursor here and search for the text box. So I have the text box with me. So I'm going to keep the cursor here and double click on the text box. So I got the customer number, customer name, and I'm just double clicking on the customer address. Now I want the address to be slightly longer, so I'm going to right click on it and go to the properties, and here you will find the interesting property that is called as the text mode. You can notice the property called as text mode. This is currently single line. I will make this one as multiple line. So I'll select it and make it as multiple line. That's all I need to do, and I can get it slightly bigger. Then I need a button to add this information to the database. So I'm going to go and put a button into this place. So I'll double click on that button, and I'm going to change the properties of this button, and I'm going to change the text of this button as a register. So user is going to register. Now in order for me to save the content, I need a database. So I'm going to go to the Solution Explorer. So in my Solution Explorer, I'm going to right click and then say add new item, and I'm going to go to the data, and I will select the data as SQL data source. I will not change the name of the database. Let it be database DBMS. Let me click yes to create the database. I'm going to right click and I'm going to open this database. You will notice on the other side Server Explorer will start. Under the table you don't have any tables, so right click and then add a new table. So I need a customer number, so I'm going to say customer number, and the data type I'm going to take it is integer. Then I have the customer name. I'm not putting the space here. You notice that I'm not putting space whenever I'm typing the field names. I will take that as varchar, let it be 50, and then finally I have the address of the customer. Again I'm going to take that as varchar, and let me take the address as 150. So that's all. I'm going to save this. When I save it, it's going to ask me for the name of the date table. I'm going to give the name as customer. Click OK, and I have the customer with me. Now what I'm supposed to do is, whenever I click on this register button, I want to save the content into the database. In order for me to save that content, I need a data source. So I will go to the toolbox. So if it's not visible, go here and then search for the toolbox, and it's going to be visible. So click on view and toolbox, it's visible. Okay, then I need a data source there. So if you look at under the data section, you will notice that there is a SQL data source. I'll keep my cursor here and double click on SQL data source. Once I have the data source, I'm going to configure that data source, and I'm going to select the database as database 1. Then I'm going to click on next. I will keep the name as it is, connection string, and I will have the customer table with me. If you want, you can test the query, but it's of no use. There is no data in that query, in that table. Let me finish it off. So once the data source is there, I need to save the data. So let me go and double click on this register button. So the button click event gets activated. So here I need to write the SQL command. So I will go here and I'm going to write the code as SQL source1 dot. I will select the insert command and I will type the command. So I need that command. In order for me to get that command, I will go to the Server Explorer. In my Server Explorer, I have the customer table. Right click on it and then select the new query. So select new query to start the query. So right click and start the new query, and I'm going to add this particular customer into the view here. So add it and then close it. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the query type. So I'll click on it and then say insert values. So when I do that, insert values, I have the new query here, insert into. So I need customer number, I need customer name, and I need customer address. So I'm going to type the customer number 101, customer name, and customer address. So I have the query with me. I'm going to slightly get this query in a neat way, and whenever you do this one, see to it that there are spaces. If there are no space, you will end up in trouble. So keep the spaces between the keywords of the SQL statement, otherwise the things will not work. So let me select entire thing. So I've selected entire thing, Control C to copy it, and then I will go back to my place where I am supposed to write the query. I'm going to paste this here. So I have the insert command with me so that I can do the insertion. Now the first thing that I need to do is replace this. In order to do that, select it, put two double quotes, come inside, put two double plus sign, and then you have the text box 1.text. So you have the first one. Select the name but not the single quotes, they are not really required. So double click, double quotes, and two plus sign, and then you have the second text box dot text, and last one, keep those single quotes as it is, put two double quotes inside, two plus sign, and the text box 3.text. So you have three things done. Now there should not be any squiggly red lines. If you get it, then you have the syntax errors. I don't have any syntax errors. So next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to call the insert command. So I'm going to call the insert command. Once the customer registers to the website, then they are supposed to go to the next page. And let me go to the next page, wherein I'm going to display them the products which are there. So I'm going to add that part. This is not complete. I will have to do a few things over here. So I will add one new page here. So let me add a new page. So I'm going to right click and then say under the web, I'm going to select the web here. So under web, I'm going to select the web form. So let's select the web form and I'm going to call it as product. You can call it with any name, products or product list, anything you can call it, it's up to you. So I have the new table or new page over here, and when the customer clicks on the register, they must automatically go to the other page. Now when they go to the other page, I have to remember the name and details of the customer. I will just remember the customer name, a customer number. How do we remember the customer number throughout the session is we go and say session, and inside this I will use the capital word CNO. Remember, this is case sensitive. Now whatever you write it here, it should be proper. The same thing you have to use it. If you have written it in small case, it is in small case. If it is in capital, in mixed case, it must be in mixed case. So be careful with what you are writing inside that. Then I have to store the customer number there. So I know that customer number happens to be there in the first text box. So if you look at the first field text box here, it's going to store the customer number. Now I have the customer number stored for the session. Then I'm going to go to the response dot redirect, and I will redirect myself to the other place, and that is the product list dot aspx. So I will go here, product list dot aspx is the place where I am going to take the customer. So when the customer registers, they will be taken to the product list dot aspx. Now in this product list dot aspx, I am supposed to show the details about the product. So let me do that thing. I have the product list here. In this product list, I am supposed to show all these things. That is the product to be selected, price, quantity, and two buttons, one to add and other one to show the details. Let me start by inserting a table. So I will go here and insert a table, and let me take it as 6 rows. If the extra rows are there, you can ignore it. So 6 rows, 2 column, and I'm going to say product list. So I have the product list with me. So products list with me. Then the first one that I am supposed to show here is the select a product, price and quantity. So let's start with the thing. Select a product, and next one is the price of it, and the last one is the quantity. Things should be there. So let me go here and let me bring the column slightly closer, and I am going to put a drop down list here. I will go to the toolbox here and I am going to select the drop down list at this place. So I kept the cursor here, double click on the drop down list. So double click on the drop down list, you have the drop down list here. Let me edit the items. So I'm going to click on the edit items, and I'm going to add the items. The first item that I'm going to add is the keyboard. You can do anything. So I'll add a keyboard. The value I'm going to take it is 1. So that's the difference. Keyboard, but the value is 1. Next item I'm going to add is the mouse. Value that I'm going to take is 2. Next one I'm going to add is a monitor. Value is 3. Next value is 3. Next item I'm going to add is same hard disk. Value is 4. So you notice that there is a difference, text and the value. First one is the text, keyboard value is 1, mouse value is 2, monitor value is 3, hard disk value is 4, and I'm going to click OK. Very important thing that you must understand here is whenever you make a selection in this particular drop down list, this drop down list must automatically post the changes back to the server. So you need to enable this part. That's very much required. If you don't do this, when you make the selection, nothing is going to happen. So you have to enable this auto post back. So remember that thing. I'm going to go here and then say enable auto post back. That's very much required. Let's go to the next one, and I need the price. Price will automatically come and the user will not be allowed to make changes to the price. So I'm going to put a label there so that the user will not be able to make any changes. Last thing is the quantity. So I'm going to double click on it, and then I have the quantity with me, so which is the text box. Below this I'm going to add a button, and I'm going to change the property of the button, and I'm going to change the text of this button as so I have the text of this button, add to cart. So add to cart is the text I have added. So the user must know that the items are being added to the cart. So I will put one more label here. That label is used only to tell the user that the user item has been added, and the next one is the user must be able to view the bill. So I will press the tab here, and the next row is automatically created, and I'm going to add one button next to it. So this button, I will go to the properties of this particular button, and I'm going to say show bill. So this much is done. So what I'm supposed to do is, when I click on this add button, I am supposed to save the details into the database. Now for that, let's go to the database and create a table there. So I'm going to right click on the database over here and then say open. It's going to open the server explorer. I'll go to the tables here, so not the customer, the tables here. Don't click on the customer, click on the tables, because you want to add a new table there. Right click on it and then say add new table. So you are doing it on the table, not on the customer table, which is already created. So right click, add new table. Let's start with the customer number. So I'm going to say customer number. So customer number, and I'll take it as integer. Product number, no spaces, product number, and let me take it as integer. Product name, and let me take it as varchar 50, let it be, and price, I'm going to take the price as numeric, say 16, say maybe 14,2. I'm not going to put very heavy values there, so I will not do anything about that. Then you have the quantity, and and I'm going to take it again the quantity as numeric. You can take varchar, you can take anything, it's up to you. It's not going to make anything any difference. Then I have the total. Here I'm going to take the total as numeric 14,2. You can make them as varchar also, but not the total, because you need to do the calculation on the total. So these are the fields I have it. I'm going to just save it, and it's going to ask me for the name of the table. I will going to give the name as products. So let's save it, and I have the products table with me. Now what I'm supposed to do, if I go to this product list over here, and let me save everything, and if I click on this add to cart, the things has to be saved. So in order to do that, I need a data source here. So let me put a data source. I will go to the toolbox, and under the data, so you can see under the data you have the SQL data source. Just drag and keep it over here. You can keep it anywhere. This is not going to be visible when the program is running. So this is the data source. Configure it. Select the connection string which is already there. You can see the connection string that is connecting to the database. Click next, and always remember, select the product list. So that's really required. You need this products for adding it. So products, click next. If you want, you can test the query, but because it's not going to make any difference, there are no records are there, it's not going to show up anything. So I have configured the data source. Now I'm going to double click on this add to cart button there. So I will double click on it, and I have the code with me. Now what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to save the content to the database. How do I save the content to the database? I will go to the Server Explorer here, and under this Server Explorer I will select the products, right click on it, and then say new query. So this time it is not the customer, it is the product. Right click and say new query, and I'm going to select the products table, not the customer table. I need the product table, and I'm going to add that product table into the query there, and I'm going to change the query type now. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to change the query type as insert values. So this is the query, insert value is the query. So let's select it, insert value, and now let me start doing it. So first customer number, then product number, then I have product name, then I have price, then I have quantity, then last thing I have is the total. Let me put some value. Customer number 101, product number 1, product name keyboard, price is 350, and quantity is say say 3, and total is the total value. So 350, maybe 1050, some value is going to come there. Now what I'm interested in is I want to get the products, this particular SQL statement. So I'm going to make it into single line. I'll bring everything into single line. So this is the query that I'm going to use it. So let me select that whole query, Control C to copy it. Let me go to the code now, where I am supposed to write it. So I have the SQL data source 1, and I'm going to say insert command, and the command is I'm going to just paste it. So I have this insert command, very lengthy insert command here. If you have extra spaces, you can remove it, but it's not going to make any difference. The first one is the customer number, and I'm going to select it, 2 double quotes, 2 plus sign. Now where is the customer number? I know that it is inside the session, and I gave the number as CNO, everything in capital. So you must remember whatever that you have done in the previous page, that is the same thing. Next one is the product number. Where will I get the product number? You know that. So I'm going to put the double quotes, 2 plus sign, and I will go to the drop down list there, and in the drop down list I'm going to say selected value. That is going to give me the product number. Then I need the product name. Remember, I am not touching the single quotes there, so be careful with that. 2 double quotes, 2 plus sign, come inside and then say drop down list, and then say selected item. Now when if you select that if you select an item, then you have to convert it into toString. Remember, whenever you see this symbol, it's a method. You need the parenthesis for that. Next, the price that was there. So the price is in the label. So let me put the two double quotes, 2 plus sign, and I will go to this label 1. That's the first label, and I am going to get the text there. The next one is the quantity. So again same thing, two double quotes, 2 plus sign, and I need the quantity. This is there in the text box 1 dot text. It's there. The last one is the total. So I have not calculated the total. So let me first calculate the total there. So to calculate the total, let me take a double total. And how do I do that thing? I take these two values. I'm going to close this. This is not really required. I take this price into quantity. That's all. So price is a label, whatever value which is there in the price, and the label. So I will first convert the price into double, and I will go to the label 1, and I'm going to get the text. I will convert it into double, multiply it with the so price with the quantity. So I will again convert it the text box, whatever that is there in the text box, that text is converted into that. So I get the total now, and I have the total with me. That total is been calculated. So you can notice this total is nothing but price into quantity. That's it. I'm going to replace that total here. So this is the total in the query. So just double quotes, 2 plus sign, and then add the total. Now the problem with this particular thing, let me complete this and then tell you what is the problem. So this is the command. I will go to the SQL data source and then say insert, which is the method. Remember, whenever you find this symbol, there is a parenthesis that is required. I will go to the label 2, and I'm going to display a message to the user, that is the text message to the user, saying that the item has been added. So added, and I will go to the drop down list, and I will get the selected item, and I will convert it into toString. So this is added to the cart. So this is what is being done. Now there is one minor problem with it. So from where will I get the price? So that is very important. So I need to get the price here. How do I get that price? So let me go to the list over here, and I will randomly put some price. So I will write a method. Remember, this is one method. From here to here one method, here to here one more method. I'm going to write a method. How do I write a method? See, this is the signature, protected, void, name of the method, and argument it takes. So I will also start with the protected, not really required. You can make it as public also. Void. Okay, I'm going to say set price. It does not take any parameter, and it's not going to return anything. So how do you set the thing? First of all, I will go to the drop down list, and I will find out which item is being selected. So if the item value is 1, I will set some price. So this is how I go. So I will go int, and I'm going to say selected item, and I will go to the drop down list, and I'm going to get the list there. Now you know very well, whatever you put here is going to be text. So I need to convert it into integer. So I'm going to say convert into integer, and I'm going to go to the drop down list, and I'm going to say selected item. Okay, selected item is the thing there. Okay, so get it. Now I'm going to say if selected item is equal to 1, that is the first item you are selecting, then the price that you're going to show in the label, that is the label 1 dot text, is you put some price. Okay, let me say keyboard is having a price 350 rupees. Else I'm going to copy this thing now because it's going to be laborious to type this whole thing. Else if it is mouse, that is the second item, I'm going to say this is 250 rupees. Again I'm going to copy this whole thing, Control C and paste it. Else if the item is 3, that is in my case I think it was the monitor, so I'm going to say this is 4500, 250, whatever it is. The last one is the item number 4. If it is item number 4, then the price happens to be say 5500. Some price, I am just putting some price, you just put some price, that's it. Okay, now I will do it when the page is loaded. So when this page is loaded for the first time, I want to do it, so that method is called as a page load. So I'm going to say set price. This is the method. When the page is loaded, set price is called. So when you load the page for the first time, it's going to set the price for the keyword. Okay, and the next one is whenever you make changes into this drop down list, the price has to be changed. So that means whenever you make a new selection, the price has to be changed. So when, in other words, when the selected index changes, the price has to be reset. How do I do that thing? Select this drop down list, double click on it, just double click on this one. You will get a method called as drop down list selected index change. So whenever the selection changes, what am I supposed to do? I have to set the price. So I'm going to just call the set price. So that's all you need to do. Now the next thing that we are supposed to do is to show the bill. Now once the thing is done, when the user clicks on show bill, you are supposed to show this bill. So let me create a new page there. I'm going to go to the Solution Explorer, right click on it, and I'm going to say add new item, and I will take the web form and I'm going to give the name of this web form as bill. You can give anything there. So bill.aspx will be my new page. Okay, this is going to be the bill. Now let me go to the product list. Now when I click on this show bill, so when you click on this show bill button, this thing has to be shown. Okay, so let's do that part. So I'm going to double click on this show bill, and you have the button to click event, and I'm going to say response dot redirect, and I'm going to redirect it to bill.aspx. Remember, this is case sensitive, so be careful with it. You wrote bill and it must be bill. If you wrote bills, it must be bills, and it is case sensitive. So I'm redirecting to bill.aspx, and what is that I'm supposed to do here? Again, one title over here and a few things to be shown. So let me write that thing. Okay, easy shopping dash invoice, and then I'm going to put a form view. So two things I'm going to put. One is the form view, other one is the grid view. You are familiar with the grid view because most of the time you are using. I am going to use the form view. Then I'm going to use the grid view. So let's go here under the data. You are going to find that, and that is the form view. I'm going to double click on it. The form view has been added. I'm going to select the data source for that form view. Click on it, select a new data source, SQL data source, that's one that is required. Click OK, and select the connection string which was already there. So I'm selecting that. Click next. I want to show the customer details here, so you can notice the customer details are here. Click next. You can test it because no data is there. You can't, I'm not going to test it, but you can do that thing. Now very important thing, if you do it, it's going to show the first record. I want to select the record of the particular customer. How do I do that thing? I know the customer number because I've stored it in the session. So I'm going back and I'm going to go to the where clause here, click on this where clause, where I'm going to say customer number is so where customer number is taken from session, and the name that I gave, remember, CNO, in all in capital. So session CNO, you remember that. Add it and it's going to be added. Click OK, and I have the where clause now. You can notice the where clause where customer number is equal to that. It is a select star from customer where customer number is equal to that. You can go next. I will not test it because there is no data here. I'm going to just finish it off. So that ends the first part. Next part is I'm going to add the data grid view. So you are all familiar with the grid view. So I'm going to add the grid view. Again, as usual, right click on the data source. So you can click on this one and data source. I will select a new data source and again SQL data source as usual. Click next to go ahead with the thing. I will select the same connection string. There is nothing new here. And then next, you have to remember very important thing. This time I want the customer. I don't want the customer, I want the product. So I want to display the product. So I will select all the products and I need the where clause. So I'll go with the where clause, where in customer number is equal to from the session CNO. Remember, that's the same thing, where customer number is equal to the customer number. Add it. If you want, you can click OK. Go next. If you have data, you can test it. I don't have any data, so I'm going to just finish it off. Okay, now that's not the end of it. You need to show the grand total. So at the last, you need to show the grand total. So let me put a label here. So I have to put the label and I have to do the calculation. How do I do the calculation? So on the web page over here, right click and go to the show code. So right click anywhere on the empty place, don't select anything, right click and then say view code. You get the page load event. Here I will have to do the calculation. What is that I'm going to do is I'm going to add all the totals here. So I must know how many rows are there. So first I'm going to get the number of rows. So how do I do that thing? I'm going to go here and I'm going to say int row count or total row. Let me say that is a good word. So total rows is, go to the grid view. Okay, so you have this grid view dot, go to the rows. So it has many rows there, and then go to the count. Okay, then I need a for loop here. So for double tab, for I is equal to 1, I less than total number of I is equal to 0, total number of rows. What is that I'm supposed to do is count it. I will take a counter here. So double sum is equal to 0. I need to save some values there. So double sum is equal to 0. I'm going to go here and I'm going to say sum is equal to sum plus. Okay, go to the grid view again. So grid view and go to the row, and I'm going to go to the ith row and I'm going to go to the cells here. So I have to find with the cell number. Now how many cells are there? This is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the 5th cell number. So first is customer number, product name, price, quantity, total. That's the fifth cell number, and then I'm going to get the text. Now I can't add this one, so I will have to convert it into double. So I will just say convert into double, and I will do this one. So whole thing is converted into double. I get the total here. Once the for loop is over, I will go to this label here, and I'm going to put the text to this label, and I'm going to say that grand total is plus sum. So that's all I need to do. So everything is done. Let me go to the save everything, and hope I've not done a mistake. Let's go ahead and let's give it a try. I will start with the home.aspx. Remember, select the page that you want to start with first, and then start running the application. So you have your application here, customer number 101, and I'm going to say Shakuntala. Okay, Shakuntala. She's from Ashok Nagar, say. Okay, let's register it, and if everything is fine, oh, I think I made a mistake. Selected item. Okay, selected item is not being selected. Unable to. Okay, I think that item is not being selected. No item is being selected. Let me go here and let's check the item in the product list. Let's go here and let's select. Let's see what's the problem with the thing over here. Items, you have first item keyboard value is 1. Selected, oh, I think I made a selected item. Sorry about that. So where was it? We stopped selected, not the item, selected value. This is not selected item, this is selected value. So I need to select the value, not the item. So if you look at here, this is the value. I am interested in the value, not that thing. So in the set price, that's the value that need to be saved. Okay, let me try it one more time. Hope I have not done many mistakes there. Let me try one more time with some other person. Let's start from the home page again. Let me say customer number 102, and customer is Sharath. Okay, Sharath is there already, and he is from say Kulshekar, and let's register Sharath. Okay, so you have the product and the price. If I select something, the price will change. Okay, the Sharath is purchasing 2 mouse, so added mouse, and then Sharath is purchasing 1 monitor, and I am adding 1 monitor, and Sharath is purchasing say 3 hard disk. So that so many items Sharath has purchased. Let me click on show bill, and if everything goes fine, I'm going to get the Sharath, and he's from Kushegar, and the grand total. So this is 16,000 plus 4, 20,000 roughly, 20 and something 21,000 and so on. I hope that it's doing the calculation. It knows how to do the calculation. So this is all that is there in this exercise. All the best for your practical exam. I will stop.